Viewing images is obviously at the heart of working in Photoshop, but as with most things in Photoshop, there are a staggering number of options, particularly when you've got multiple images open at a time. Let's get a handle on viewing and navigating documents on screen. We'll get started by going to our Chapter 1 folder. So I'm going to do File Open, which is Command O on the Mac, Control O on the PC. We'll navigate to our Chapter 1 folder, and let's simply double click on this first file, Horizontal 01. If you get an embedded profile mismatch dialog box here, I want you to simply go ahead and click OK. Way back when we set our Photoshop preferences, we did ask Photoshop to give us a warning if there was a color profile mismatch when opening new documents. So just click OK and you're ready to go. Now we've got the image up in standard screen mode. Of course, we can cycle through with the F key and get to the different screen modes. Once will take us to full screen mode with menu bar. Again, will take us to full screen mode. And one more time to go back to where we started. Now I'm on a Mac right now, but if you want to emulate the look of being on a Windows machine, simply go up to Window and you can turn on the application frame. So all the elements of Photoshop are nicely contained within one movable window. I'm going to set that back for right now, so we'll turn application frame off. One of the new features of CS5 is an addition to the behavior of the zoom tool. Let's select the zoom tool by pressing Z on the keyboard. And notice up here in the options bar, we've got a brand new option called Scrubby Zoom. Now, if you don't see Scrubby Zoom, or if it's grayed out, that means that your video card is not OpenGL compatible. If that's the case, just sit back and watch. Normally with the zoom tool, we click once to zoom in specific increments, or we could click and drag to zoom in on a specific location. But with Scrubby Zoom selected, we simply click and drag to the left, and we can continuously zoom out, drag to the right, and we continuously zoom in. So we can go back and forth to our heart's content. The nice thing about this is that if we want to zoom in on a particular location, let's say the cockpit here, we would simply click and drag to the right, and as we keep dragging, we zoom right in on that initial location. So that's a nice new feature here in CS5. Well, let's go back and press M to get back to the marquee tool. Zoom tool is one of the most often used features, so if you're not familiar with the shortcut, it is Command spacebar on the Mac, Control spacebar on the PC. No matter which tool you have selected here, that combination will get you to the zoom tool, and as long as your Scrubby Zoom option had been checked in that options bar, it will still work. So we can click and drag to the left to zoom out, and to the right to zoom in. Now what I really want to spend some time talking about is handling multiple images on screen in Photoshop. So let's go back into our Chapter 1 folder and open up some more images. We'll select horizontal 02, 03, and vertical 01, 2, and 3. I'm making these non-contiguous selections by holding down the Command key on the Mac, Control key on the Windows machine. And we'll simply press Enter to invoke the Open button. And now we've got 6 images open, and because our preferences were set to open documents as tabs, they are all nicely contained as tabs inside a single window. Now, if you'd rather have them be in their own separate windows, we've got some nice options for doing that. Up in the application bar, we've got our Arrange Documents icon. If I click and hold down, this second icon here is Tile All in Grid. So it's going to take all 6 images and space them out in a grid. So I'll select that, and there we go. We've got our 6 images there. We have other tile options. We could tile them all vertically. We could tile them all horizontally. Okay, let's go back to Tile All in Grid for a moment. I want to call your attention to this second set of icons in here. These are all what's called N-up layouts, where here we've got 2 up vertically, 2 up horizontally, here's 3 up, and we can see we've got 4 up here, so you can arrange a specific number of images in a particular layout. So if I choose this 4 up option over here, 1 image is going to be vertical on the left with 3 images horizontal on the right. So let's see what that would look like. Okay, and of course, because we had more than 4 images, notice that these 2 are still tabbed within a single document window. So we've got 2 ups, we've got 3 ups, 4, it goes up to 5. So if we choose 5 here and we'd have 2 vertical, 3 horizontal, it would look like that. Okay, so the N up selections are good if you have a specific number of images on screen that you want to see in a particular location. If you just want to see everything tiled, of course, you'd go to Tile All in Grid. Now here's what you can do. If you like the layout, but of course you'd like to see the full frame of each of these images, and the problem is that some are horizontal and some are vertical, and our tiling here is in a vertical orientation, here's what you can do. Let's click on this horizontal image, and let's invoke the zoom tool with Command Spacebar on the Mac, Control Spacebar on the PC, and let's simply click and drag to the left to zoom this out until the whole image fits in the window. That's at a viewing percentage of 13.17%. Now, if we go back up to our Arrange Documents icon, and if we say Match Zoom, it will apply the zoom of the selected image to all the other images on screen. So now we can see that we've got all the images now completely visible. We simply took the horizontal image and applied that image's scaling to the other images in this layout. So lots of things that you can do here if you're trying to view multiple images on screen. You just need a quick sort of almost thumbnail overview of them inside Photoshop. You can do that. You can choose to match the zoom and the location. If you wanted to float all the images in their own separate windows, you could do that. If you wanted to actually open a new window with an image and have the same image viewed in two separate windows, you can choose New Window, and because this plain image, horizontal 01, is selected, that's the one that will get a new window. And if I click and drag this out, we can see there we have two window views of this image right here. Of course, we can consolidate everything back into tabs simply by clicking on the very first icon. Of course, if you are going to be working in the tab mode and you need to move from one image to the next, instead of clicking on each image, what you can do is use the keyboard shortcut, which is Command tilde on the Mac, Control tilde on the PC, and that will cycle you through all of the open images here. So you move from one image to the next, to the next, to the next, quickly and easily. There's also a little flyout menu here where you can click and easily select the image you want to view by name. So we've got a ton of options here for viewing multiple images